I very much regret that I cannot be with you this evening. I so look forward to receiving this Building Bridges Award. For me, this award represents, conveys, and characterizes the philosophy and spirit of my professional career. I'm an old man now, but once I was young and unformed, but I was stirred by the values, goals, and struggles of the civil rights movement. So I decided in the 60s that I wanted to make a difference with my life and not a living. So I pushed, clawed, and begged my colleagues within higher education around the nation to create a platform for social justice. This became the Council for Opportunity in Education in 1981, a Washington-based association with a membership of almost 1,000 colleges and universities, including Wichita State University. That process of putting this organization together required me, with the help of many others, to build bridges, first between racial and ethnic groups, white evangelicals in Oklahoma, Blackfeet Indians in Montana, African Americans in Chicago, Puerto Ricans in the Bronx. These relationships and coalitions created an operational rainbow coalition, which became an effective force in bringing to America's policymakers the plight and conditions and necessities of low-income and first-generation Americans for greater opportunities in higher education. There were other bridges that we had to build, regional bridges between the West and the East and the South. And then, of course, finally, there was the business of building bridges in Washington. We had to course, cajole, and pressure the Washington elites of both political parties to join force with common folk, the little people, as the British Petroleum Executive called many of the survivors of the oil spill in the Gulf. Folks like my parents and their neighbors in a steel town called Pueblo, just across the line of the western edge of this state, Kansas. Steel workers, truck drivers, farmers, small businessmen. And these bridges was the fiber, the sinew that held the Council for Opportunity in Education together. This was the national network, and it became the driver for dramatic increases in services to low-income and first-generation students and the TRIO programs across the nation. Tonight, for example, there are 9 TRIO programs at this university. Out of 1,400 colleges and universities in the country that provide TRIO services, only 2 of the 1,400 have more TRIO programs than does Wichita State University. This we can credit largely to the leadership of Delpha Q. Colvin, a bright and determined advocate and administrator who internalized the justice agenda and led Wichita State on a no-nonsense course that empowered thousands of low-income and minority students in this community. Delpha, for those of you who may not know her, is herself a former Upward Bound student. And let me add that a dear friend of mine from graduate school, Charlie Jenkins, has had the privilege of working in her program and is very much a part of this story. In closing, let me thank Wichita State University and the Office of Special Programs for honoring me tonight. This moment gives me an additional spark to return to the work of advancing justice by expanding educational opportunity.